Link. Only you have the power to surpass the third holy card yet.
Come here, you little turd!
Watch out!
Hold still, you little runt!
Hey!
Stand still, I
Watch
said!
out!
You know what? Screw it. Just start the review. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is the newest entry into the highly successful Zelda franchise and is developed and published by Nintendo. Coming off of what some would dub as a generation-defining open-world game with Breath of the Wild, Nintendo now aim to up their game and evolve the series even further than before. But did they succeed in their attempt, or is this a case for Mr. Happy Mask Salesman to tell Nintendo, you shouldn't have done that? Only one way to find out, so let's go! Story. Decide your own path through the sprawling landscapes of Hyrule and the mysterious islands floating in the vast skies above. Can you harness the power of Link's new abilities to fight back against the malevolent forces that threaten the kingdom? Opening intro. The Legend of Zelda has been a focal point in my life throughout my childhood and even during my adulthood. Sure, I may not be the biggest fangirl of the series like I am with something like Mario, but I've always had a soft spot growing up with it. From playing the first Zelda game on the NES and thinking, okay, this is pretty cool, before ultimately raging out because I couldn't find out how to get through to the damn next area, and then realizing you have to burn one random bush to reveal a stairway. What? That's as random as kneeling for like 10 seconds by a wall while holding a crystal and waiting for a tornado to come and take you away for another stage. Huh? No, I wasn't exaggerating my point there. That's literally what happens in Castlevania. Even with minor annoyances like that, the sense of adventure is what makes the first Zelda so endearing even till this day, and one that influences modern games till this very day too. However, we cannot say the same thing for its direct sequel of Zelda 2, I'm afraid. Yikes! As AVGN would say, what were they thinking? Making Zelda a side-scroller game in the same style of titles like Friday the 13th on NES was a bold move, that's for sure, but one that left me scratching my head in confusion. Your goal here is once again to save Princess Zelda from a slumber and save the day, but, you know, I kind of don't want to. It's the black sheep of the entire franchise in my opinion, and one that I do not visit too often. Unlike one of my favorite entries into the series with A Link to the Past. With A Link to the Past, it's probably my second most played Zelda game, next to Ocarina of Time when I was growing up. Its amazing art style, detailed map, head-bopping music, it all flows so well to the point where you just lose yourself to time itself, much like Link does during the story. Nothing beats waking up at 8 a.m. in the morning on a weekend as a kid, eating my bowl of cereal, and then popping in my cartridge to hear that beautiful bolstering music hit your ears, and knowing it's time to leave Earth and head to Hyrule. It's experiences you can't buy. Speaking of experiences you can't buy, the same holds true for my absolute favorite entry into the series to this day, Ocarina of Time. I know, pretty tame choice, right? I'm sure my childhood nostalgia plays some part of my decision, of course. But much like Mario 64 revolutionized the way 3D platforming was played, I felt the same way about Ocarina of Time and adventure games. Being able to roll around like a little freak going, yeah, yeah, yeah! To the annoyance of my parents, winning horse races with your newfound buddy Epona, and making your grand escape, watching the fat king of Zora's domain move his big butt out of the way and probably leaving skid marks along his way, getting swallowed by a giant whale and venturing inside its belly for a dangerous rescue mission, engaging dungeons that made you gasp with awe as you first entered the innards of the great Deku Tree and find out an entire dungeon is inside of him to discover, making your parents pay like $200 worth of new controllers because you accidentally broke controllers while raging at the water temple, being spooked at the transition from Kid Link to Adult Link, and seeing how dark the game gets with the graveyard keeper from your childhood now being dead and is a ghost that haunts the grounds beneath the cemetery. Which, when thinking about it, doesn't Child to Adult Link just mirror real life? Happy and fun dancing with Goron friends like it's no one's business as a kid, then nothing but death, grief, and emotional turmoil as an adult. No? Just me? Okay, then I have issues. Point being that Ocarina of Time has so much dang magic that even as an adult, I can't help but have a smile on my face when playing through it. Plus, it's funny as heck thinking about how badly Zelda screwed everything up and ushered in a time that gave us Majora's Mask or flooded Earth in Wind Waker. Good job, loser! Coming off the heels of Ocarina of Time, I eagerly awaited to get my hands on the next entry into the series, Majora's Mask. And I was very disappointed. I know, cardinal sin of me to say that. While I still appreciate the steps it took to move the series in a different direction and take risks, going more horror-themed with the way it portrayed itself with Skull Kid, Happy Mask Salesman, spooky as all hell Smiling Moon, and random alien abductions, even with that, I just can't get into it. Controls are as good as ever, run smooth, intriguing story in a way, but the gameplay of it overall just didn't click for me. The game has never been able to grasp at my attention for long spurts. Mask use is obviously a fan favorite, and I can agree with that. But to me, while I appreciate it going above and beyond for certain aspects, it felt less Zelda to me and more experiment-like than a true Zelda experience to what I personally wanted or expected a Zelda game to be at the time. Only good thing to come out of it for me in the long run was when I used the games to create my own creepypasta videos and original storyline based off of the creepypasta called Been Drowned. Thanks Majora's Mask, I was able to harness my inner horror, so in a way, the game will always be linked to me in some way because of that. So no regrets there. Being a bit disappointed with Majora's Mask, I waited again for a game to give me back that excitement, and the wait wasn't long, as next up was Wind Waker. Granted, growing up, I gotta say I wasn't a fan because I didn't devote time to sit down and play it. Whether it be school, athletics, or playing PlayStation 2, it got neglected. That is, until Wii U, when I decided to say, screw it, let's sit down and play it from start to finish, no bullcrap, let's go! And I absolutely fell in love with it. The cartoony characters, gorgeous landscapes, vast oceans, sense of adventure and exploration, drowning little piggies in the ocean, jamming out to the sailing theme hard, like da-da-na, da-na-na-na-na, or making Link sing Whitney Houston.
If I should stay.
Everything about it was just an absolute treat. Not to mention the game ending in one of the most brutal ways possible, with Link saying, "Eat crap, you bloated freak," and just going savage mode and stabbing Ganondorf in his big old head. And look at him, he's happy as all hell about it too. Cute little menace. Finally, we enter the mixed bag to great territory of the series for me. Twilight Princess, which I won't talk about much since it's one of my least liked entries into the series. To me, it just feels like Zelda's version of Hot Topic, trying to be edgy, but ultimately comes off as a try-hard. Let me set things straight. At its core, the game is pretty good. It has the best design for any Princess Zelda, epic boss fights that rival any game in the franchise till this day, great art style, but the Twilight elements, Midget Midna turning wolf, just makes me cringe thinking of Werehog Sonic from Sonic Unleashed. Now, human form Midna is pretty great, not gonna lie about that one. I want her armor as unlockables in future Zelda games. But overall, it left me saying, this game is good, but certain elements and additions as mentioned stop me from being able to immerse myself in the world itself and fully engage with it. I can definitely see why it's people's fan favorite, totally. It's just not for me, and I feel that's okay. Unlike it being okay for me to like Skyward Sword, good lord, the amount of people that get so anal about me saying, yeah, I like Skyward Sword, I feel it has one of the better stories of the modern Zelda era, is pretty astronomical. Granted, I get gripes about Wii motion controls. While I personally never had an issue, I can definitely see why people didn't want to use them, especially after playing it on Switch with an actual real controller. Totally different experience. For me personally, I love how expressive Link is. The most he has been since Wind Waker. He has personality. Zelda is spunky and upbeat. Groose is hilarious and entertaining, the world is beautiful, and music is catchy. Gameplay is engaging and fun the majority of the time, minus interactions against Girahim, whom I think sucks as a major villain, and the annoying as all hell Fi. I hate Fi. People talk about Navi being annoying, but she ain't got crap on Fi. For Fee and her alone, I can see why people would hate this game. Terrible character, and she never shuts the hell up. Annoyances aside, I feel like Skyward Sword offers great level design, great boss fights with badasses like Demise, and a feeling of adventure that I like to see in the series, that is colorful without being overly dreary. That's just how I feel on it, and I'm fine with people disagreeing with me, just as long as they accept it as my opinion and don't get offended just because I like something they hate. Lastly, we come to the leading game, Breath of the Wild. At the time of its release, this crap was absolutely nuts. With over 200 hours logged into this game, it consumed my life. This was the Zelda game that I had wanted since Ocarina of Time. A vast open world with modern graphical power that lets you explore and discover to your heart's content. Wondering if I can climb that mountain in the distance, and spending half an hour making my way on foot to it and discovering, yep, I can climb it, and anything else. The feeling of exploration was never stronger, with me putting myself back into the days of my childhood as I reminded myself of Twilight Princess, as I found the Bridge of Eldin and thinking about the past hero Link once treading these same lands as me. Discovering the ruins of the once lively Lon Lon Ranch from Ocarina of Time and feeling a bit of sadness knowing that in this current era, it's destroyed and laid in ruin, as I remember the fun times I had racing here and hanging out as a kid in real life. The game just hit home for me in a lot of places that not many games do. Of course, it had some sucky stuff too, obviously, like crap Divine Beast dungeons and an underwhelming Calamity Ganon main battle, but it did its job in giving me an adventurous feel and sense of exploration that I haven't felt since the days of Ocarina of Time, and I love it for that, even with its shortcomings, because it made me feel home again to happier times in my life. But that brings us to the main event, Tears of the Kingdom, and what it brings now to this ever-growing franchise. Gameplay. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom attempts to evolve the gameplay and structure that we know so much about from Breath of the Wild without feeling like a total retread. Which, undoubtedly, there are similarities in Tears when compared to Breath of the Wild because, duh, it's nearly the same dang world. Overall, it still manages to create its own identity by the time you reach the in-game credits. Plus, due to the game's fusing mechanics for nearly all items in the game, it opens the chance for you to be even more of a jerk to your little Korok friends this go-around. Collect 200 plus Korok seeds and just offer me a piece of poop in Breath of the Wild? Oh yeah, I've been keeping that in the back of my mind for 6 years. 6 long years! Now it's my time for revenge. Hope you enjoyed the view of the land from hundreds of feet in the sky, little buddy. Bye-bye, bro! Hey now, I wasn't always a jerk to these little guys the entire time. I genuinely did try to save the little guys and get them back to their friends, but, in true Game & Chick fashion, something always went wrong, of course. Ain't no way in hell we're walking down the cliff to your friend. We'll find a new way down. Alright, sit your butt in here, little friend. And okay, Rocket is attached, so let's go! Woo, it's working! I'm a genius! What? No! Friend, come back! Ugh, I can't run that fast. Slow down! Well, at least he's still heading right towards his friends, so I'll catch up eventually. Oh my god, did he just fall off the cliff? Are you freaking kidding me? Well, that didn't work, but okay, this time it will be different. I won't Ace Ventura you this time, little friend. We're going to get you across to your friend. You'll give me little pieces of poop and all will be good. No! Back on topic to the game itself though, although once again the game reuses the same world from Breath of the Wild, it has undergone many subtle changes. With new town placement and growth, lively NPCs that fill the land or stables, it all feels like home. Like you've already been here for sure, but at the same time, it can feel brand new too. I feel this can be due to the differences between Wii U and Nintendo Switch. On Breath of the Wild, you had this vast open area and everything felt big, absolutely. But the world felt a tad bit too confined or cramped in. Or like a car mirror with objects are closer than they appear. However, here in Tears, while it's the same world we've been in before, everything feels stretched out, wider, longer. Much longer than my no-death run streak lasted in this game, because I tried to do a spring-slinging shrine before I even got my paraglider. Yeah, you can guess how that went. The world just feels bigger than before due to these subtle changes and because of the power of this title being a Switch exclusive. In addition to the extended map, one that gives you a large variety of opportunities for exploration and questing with things like finding an all-knowing chicken who can tell people their futures, rig an election for an eccentric fashion designer, save an idiot from a well who got trapped, etc., etc. You will also have shrines once again, which are far superior to the ones in Breath of the Wild. Skies to explore, and even the dark depths beneath Hyrule. This go around, it seems like every second you turn around, something brand new is revealed to you, and with someone like me who has borderline ADHD, it's really easy to get sidetracked at the sight of a pretty color in the distance from a shrine. But we'll get into more quests, extra content, temples, and evolution of shrines the further we get along in this review. Trust me, we've got a long ways to go. Delving into this new but familiar world, you will notice that things start off very similar to Breath of the Wild, with Link waking up once again, stripped of all of his abilities after a tragic event, and needing to acquire new skills in order to become the hero he was destined to become once again. I mean, is Link really a hero? Dude got his butt whipped against a mummified Ganondorf. Even Brendan Fraser could beat a mummy, I'm just saying. But just like areas in Breath of the Wild, for example, the Great Plateau, here in the open world of Tears of the Kingdom, a large portion of the game remains inaccessible to you to traverse or explore until you acquire 4 key abilities in a tutorial area in the beginning of the game with the Sky Islands. Each of these abilities you acquire throughout the story of the game allows you to drastically change and shape the game to nearly whatever you want to. And with this game being all about and centered around the focal point of exploration through the utilization of these main abilities, oh yeah, fun will be had. Want to drag an item from one area to another? Not a problem. Want to mix and match items in your inventory, such as using eyeballs as homing arrows, wings to shoot arrows further, or blow yourself up by combining fire and arrow together to blow up exploding barrels on unsuspecting bokoblin enemies? But blowing yourself to pieces in the process like me? Yep, you can do that too! You can also use your abilities to help out all the local NPCs who are out and about in the world that may need your help, such as a worker holding up signs for his boss Hudson. Hey bro, the heck are you doing out here by yourself? You need help keeping the sign up? I got you. Fool, you believed me, didn't you? Now you are trapped for all eternity in your fiery slumber. Burn, burn! Abilities become a key to traversal, as well as expanding your own personal creativity. Abilities, 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 abilities! The abilities of Ultra Hand, Recall, Auto Build, Ascend, Fuse, and others serve as the key driving force behind Tears of the Kingdom, just as Breath of the Wild centered around exploration through the utilization of its various abilities like Stasis. However, in Tears of the Kingdom, these abilities, alongside your Sage abilities that you acquire through the story, with characters like Tulin allowing you to get a gush of wind push when gliding, Riju allowing you to summon lightning to clear out enemies, Sidon giving the power to engulf yourself in a water shield, and Yunobo, who is able to be rolled on the ground to knock down enemies or break down walls. In addition to their special powers, they will also accompany you on your journey via their ghost, which act like fighting companions. This is both very cool and fun, but extremely freaking annoying at the same time. But I'll whine about them being annoying shortly, trust me. The crux of your main abilities with Link, however, revolve around building items to help with puzzles and shrines, or in the overworld, and experimentation to overcome obstacles that may seem insurmountable at the time. This is where the game can go from what the developers want you to do, to you doing whatever it is you want to do. There is no single right way to solve puzzles, get over a ledge, cross a river, go up a mountain, traverse the skies, or dark depths. For example, as you traverse the land and fighting Big Fat Boy Enix on a bridge, who is asleep like their Snorlax, getting ambushed by cave monsters as they fly in droves to attack you. Stop it, owls! Get away, owls! And even laughing as you intentionally try to break the wagon of innocent musicians trying to make their way to see one of the great fairies and laughing at them. Yes, even after you do that stuff to entertain yourself, you can start using abilities to stick items together, lift them, and arrange them to your will. You know damn well bokoblin are just staring at you in the distance and giving you the gozer thinking, "Are you a god?" No, Mr. Bokoblin, I'm not a god, but I am your executioner. Now die! A few of your main abilities that you will use throughout pretty much all of your playthrough for literally everything, including dropping Karak friends into a giant hole from hell, is Ultra Hand and Fuse skills. These two tend to stand out as the most influential in relation to exploration and combat respectively. For example, Ultra Hand allows you to assemble almost anything you come across, including a large variety of new building materials and ancient Zonai machine parts. Pick up a Karak and place them on the board. Lift rocks, boards, trees, weapons, puzzle pieces, and key items in the air with Ultra Hand. Then use R plus left stick to spin the object in a 360 degrees to give it the proper angle it needs to fit, or for whatever idea your crazy self wants to do. Like building a giant fire wiener monster out of wood. What? You're the one that does that, you silly little freak, not me. So don't give me that look. I prefer to build green goblin gliders to hover around in myself. So long, Spider-Man! On the flip side of this ability is fusing. Fusing enables you to modify melee weapons, arrows, and shields, and bolster your combat abilities by attaching various items to them to boost their strength and durability. For instance, if a weapon is a strength and durability of a 20 and not quite strong enough, attach a monster part or rare material to your shield or weapon to increase that 20 to a 40 or even 60 if you're lucky. Combinations are absolutely endless. As endless as myself attempting to build a boat for myself to get across the sea to find treasure, only to build it the way I want, but not having only one of my fans completely backwards, but also the steering wheel on backwards, which sent me into a spiral spin and out of control. Please don't be me, okay? Fuse and Ultra Hand work in strong conjunction with one another at all times, and there's never a moment where you won't need at least one of them, with each encouraging players to experiment with whatever combinations your brain can come up with, and yell in excitement when one of your weird ideas actually works. Alright, this looks like a bike, so it should work, right? And we're off! Holy crap, it works! We're flying! We're flying! Uh-oh.
No!
Again, the only limit here is yourself. Try attaching Zonai fan parts to a raft that will enable it to traverse a river or even take flight depending on the arrangement. Combine wooden flooring with a balloon and a flame emitter to create your very own hot air balloon. Fuse bombs to an arrow in explosive time. Attach fire to a shield to block and melt ice-related enemies. Way too much fun. So I know what you're all thinking right now. All the weapon talk, shield talk, new abilities, combat. Your big question is, have you fixed the weapon durability this time around? And that answer is... nope. Whoa, hang on, you ankle biter. Let me explain why that's not a bad thing this go around. Is it annoying? Okay, I admit it kind of is. But the game is improved in two ways. One that's naturally baked into the game, and the other that utilizes in-game enemies to help you out. First example is obviously the use of Fuse. Even if the durability is at the same levels of Breath of the Wild, you can stop this for a while by fusing your weapons and swords with stronger materials to make a weapon go from lasting 10 hits before it breaks to 20 or even 30 hits. On the flip side of that, should you have a rare bow such as the Savage Lionel bow, which is a triple shot bow found in a cave of pirates, should it be about to break, go over to an area near Death Mountain, if you've unlocked a shrine near it, and find yourself a silver Octorok. Once you do that, simple drop your weapon near him, back up, and let him eat it and spit it back at you, and once he's done that, your weapon will be buffed and good as new. You're welcome. But make sure you go in your menu first and disable any stage companions you have out, otherwise those annoying pieces of crap will kill the enemy before they have a chance to heal your damn weapon or shield. Freaking jerks, I swear. If you were all physically here with me right now, I'd kill you myself. Bet on it. Right, Troy Bolton? Hold up, aren't I missing a few abilities? Oops. Recall and Ascend are your two other main abilities that will provide a ton of use, both of which are acquired early on in the story. Recall allows you to rewind objects back to a previous state, serving both combat and exploration purposes. For example, if a boulder falls from the sky, hop on it, use Recall, and it'll take you up into the air where it originally came from, which allows you to traverse in Sky Islands in a quicker and faster fashion, or be a total a-hole like me and play catch with a bomb versus a Phoenix down in the depths of the underground. Okay, now your turn, toss it to me. Nope, nuh-uh, back to you. Boom! You freaking idiot! Ascend, on the other hand, is basically used to escape for most areas. Should you spend an hour climbing down into a cave and don't want to climb out? Ascend to move through the floor like a liquid and pop out the other side. This grants you access to hidden chambers, move through solid stone and rock, and even get through lengthy or impossible climbs. Half the time you'll forget you even have it though, and spend hours screwing up before remembering, oh yeah, I am one pathetic loser, and finishing it 4 seconds later. Finally, capping off the main abilities that offer you ways to improve your own gameplay, you have auto build. While yes, this is an optional feature and can easily be skipped on accident like I almost did, no lie, I literally didn't find the quest for it until like 80 hours into my playthrough. Remember folks, talk to crazy-looking Robbie at Lookout Landing because auto-build is going to save you time and resources and be pivotal in helping you map out the depths in the dark. As you amass an assortment of machine parts and zonites, auto-build acts as an extension of the Ultra Hand ability. But instead of making things yourself, the game will automatically create a blueprint of what you've put together previously and save it in your build history. This means, as long as you have the right amount of zonite, it will create your build for you automatically, wherever you need it, whenever you need it. Build your ships, balloons, wing gliders, cars, vehicles, planes, and whatever crazy contraption you come up with in the blink of an eye. I created a super cool flying motorcycle that made the depths in Sky Islands way easier to move through. This helps out with your stamina too, should you not have enough to climb to high places. You remember climbing a damn mountain in Breath of the Wild and it starts raining and then you have to wait 30 minutes to be able to freaking climb again? Oh yeah, that crap is back again. However, Ultra Hand and Auto Build completely diminishes the huge impact of a stamina meter for climbing or even swimming due to the ability to sail and fly. It's so smooth and efficient and feels extremely seamless with its new experience. Further expanding to the seamless experience are the Skyview Towers, which replace Breath of the Wild's towers, but this time serving not only as waypoints for map completion, but also as a launch pad that propels you high into the sky, which gives you a full view of your surroundings as you start free-falling back to land. Do you want to free fall and enjoy yourself? Glide over to a sky island? Or land on a dragon's head to that fly nearby? Do it! It's so much fun and allows you to get into hard-to-reach places that normally would take hours, but now you can do in minutes. Plus, it's a good way to spot shrines and other towers. I tried to be freaking awesome at one point and did a super fast dive like I was The Rock in Black Adam, bad CGI and all. But I missed my timed water landing and hit the ground instead, and, well, I super died. Yikes! You know what really amazes me about this title though, other than the gorgeous landscapes, addicting gameplay, or even the darker than usual story for a Zelda game that leans more into a cinematic style of storytelling than you're used to? You know what the main thing is that I focused on? The performance. Tears of the Kingdom, in my current 150-hour playthrough, yes, that's not me misspeaking, at the time of myself making this, in my 150 hours, this game further endorses the fact that Nintendo are not human and are from an alien race. Seriously, other than some frame rate drops here and there, traversal and descending from the sky to Hyrule to the depths is all in one seamless motion. No lagging, no stuttering, and no load screen for it. 3 maps with both being the size of Hyrule itself, with sky and depths, and the game runs 98% of the time like smooth silk that is sold by my homie Beetle. Yay! I can't describe how awesome it felt my first time to glide through all 3 areas in one swoop, especially during the main game storyline. I was literally like, wow! Mind you, this was docked. I have not tried this title in handheld mode to see the differences between the two. For all the devs that say, our game can't run on Switch, you should feel ashamed and learn how to compress. No excuse this time, bucko. But blah blah, right? So what? Big world, 3 areas, doesn't mean anything if there aren't interesting sights to see or places to visit, right? Absolutely. Much like Breath of the Wild, Tears is once again filled with landmarks and shrines to find. And again, shrines serving as both a way to fast travel and offering bite-sized puzzle challenges that completely takes a poo on the chest of all shrines in Breath of the Wild. The first slew of shrines I encountered have way more creativity and fun factor than anything I encountered in the previous game. It's not even a contest. Stopping time to reverse wheels, building your own bridge to cheat and bypass an area, control a mechanical car in an obstacle course, move your way around a rotating room, and even encounter shrine rooms that look like something from Final Fantasy VII with its green life stream. On top of being fun, once again, this is how your health and stamina are to be raised, which are also key to learning how to use battery packs for all your Zonite electronics to use outside of shrines. So remember what you learn. But the biggest addition to this title, I feel, even more so than the gameplay mechanics themselves, is the return of dungeons. Well, to an extent anyways. While it's not the tried and true dungeon aspect of a Zelda title that we know and love, Nintendo, however, did find a really good middle ground approach in the way of temples. Located on 4 sections of the map, your journey will take you to the sludgy water of Zora's domain, where you must help Prince Sidon and the king clear their waters of nasty poop-looking sludge by swiftly moving up sky-high waterfalls, unlocking finding the keys to the water temple and vanquishing the sludge shark from the house shark. Travel to the scorching deserts of Gerudo as you help Riju light the beam towers of the sandstorms and conquer its temple to stop the enemy hordes from attacking the village. Explore the surroundings of the new frozen Rito village as you help the young Tulin in his quest to melt the snow, as you use the power of the wind to take down a giant centipede monster and finally climb your way to Goron City near the dangerous Death Mountain and help the brainwashed Yunobo overcome his shackles and stop the brainwashing of all his people. Each of these temples, as you might have guessed, are themed to a specific element: wind, water, lightning, fire. I mean, duh, right? While there's a common theme throughout each temple, with the objective being to unlock a series of locks to progress to the main boss fight, they're anything but copy and pasted like the crappy old Divine Beast were in Breath of the Wild. An example of this is with the Lightning Temple, where you must utilize mirrors to beam lights to various areas to open secret passages and other doors. Sound familiar? Likewise, the Wind Temple makes you climb thousands of feet into the air, bouncing back and forth between flying pirate ships as you make your way into the eye of a gigantic storm, with the Wind Temple being more about traditional puzzle solving. Fire Temple getting its Donkey Kong on, and a maze where you must take minecarts from area to area to unlock 5 locks to proceed. But it can get a little confusing since the place is so big. Each temple, again, while having the lock mechanic, all vary to such a degree that no same idea is used twice, and each one is so unique that it starts making Divine Beasts and Breath of the Wild in general start looking like a game that was in its beta stage. I'm not even exaggerating. It's like working at Make-A-Wish and someone saying they want Richard Pryor to do a comedy act for them to make you feel better, and you go and get them Carlos Mencia or Amy Schumer. You freaking monster! That's what Tears is to Breath of the Wild. Sadly, with the temples in the game, unlike the previous Zelda dungeons, Tears of the Kingdom's temple does not reward you with super cool items to beat puzzles with, such as iron boots, hook shots, or boomerangs. Instead, each temple that is introduced allows one companion at your side who relates to that temple's theme to accompany you on your journey. These companions grant you access to their unique powers for puzzle solving and combat, allowing you to break down walls, spin water wheels, or activate electric switches. In regards to these 4 main characters you interact with, I have to say, I absolutely love these characters this go-around. Older and more fleshed out, topped off with some solid voice acting, you really get into these characters because they go from arrogant, prideful, sincere, friendly, or brave, and they all hit a mark and you actually like having them around you, or wanting to hear their backstory or what is happening in their respective villages because they're so well written and thought out this go-around. Well, everyone but Minoru, the 5th sage, but we'll get into my pile of rage in regards to her very, very shortly. Count on it. If I had to choose my favorite, I'd have to go with Tulin. I love that little guy. He's young and confident, but thinks the world of Link and wants to help him, and it feels genuine. Plus, he keeps me floating when I'm gliding through the sky with my paraglider, so good work, kid. First, I help you get your bow back, because you're a clumsy piece of crap. And then, because you learn me your power in my fabulous new Infinity Gauntlet of Powers, I won't have to make you into a Rito McNugget, so you got lucky. But hold up, did y'all see Link's hand? Bro, you need a manicure. That just won't do. Physical hygiene, Link. Ever heard of it? But what am I forgetting here? What do I talk about in all of my reviews? Boss fights, baby! Oh yeah! Like every Zelda game, at the end of a temple or a dungeon, you can of course get a boss fight. And like in other Zelda games, the foes presented here are formidable and epic in their own right. Whether it's against a giant centipede as you fight mid-air with only wind gusts as your ally to destroy glass panels on its stomach, fight a giant rock spider using the power of Yunobo to roll him up the wall to break off its legs and make it fall to the ground for melee damage, use electric powers of Riju to defeat monster armies as you take down big monster hives that are respawning enemies, all the way to 1 versus 1 hand-to-hand combat against Demon King Ganondorf himself, which is freaking fantastic and completely makes a mockery of Calamity Ganon and what they attempted to do with that meh of a fight. Big upgrade this go-around in all aspects of the boss fights and their temples. So far, I've tried not to touch too much on the story, but for the most part, I really like the approach they took with it, with each story piece being told to you bit by bit as you collect Dragon Tears and memories, but done so in a way that's more engaging and thought out than they were in Breath of the Wild. Cutscenes are more dynamic, with exposition filled to the point where you never feel lost or bored. The overall narrative starts with Link and Zelda's investigation of the Gloom, a blight emanating from beneath Hyrule Castle. Upon their inspection, and Zelda's annoying fangirling out at the tablets on the wall, which causes you to stop every 5 seconds to hear her flap her gums, Link and her stumble upon the desiccated corpse of Ganondorf, held down by a glowing, disembodied arm. Pretty freaky stuff. Ganondorf then suddenly reawakens and tells Link, "Hey kid, wanna give me a hand?" And then literally takes Link's hand from him. Well played, Ganondorf. You are also now the Pun King. Because of this, chaos ensues and Zelda falls into a dark abyss and disappears with a big flash of light. And upon Link's awakening, she is nowhere to be found. Instead, his right arm is replaced by the arm that held Ganondorf. From here on, the story never stops moving, learning more about the events of the past of Hyrule with the first king of Hyrule and ancient sages who are united in their fight against the Demon King Ganondorf, setting out on a cross-country expedition to find people who share the same bloodlines of their ancestors, watch as each of the modern sages weigh the responsibility of their actions and inactions, and how it will impact their homeland. Follow Zelda's journey to the past as you search for clues to her disappearance by researching scattered reports of sightings of her with unnerving events that always follow her trail. Explore the land to find ugly as heck Satori, who thinks he will become a monster by eating bubble gems, and finally culminating in one of the most intense and cinematic battles in this franchise's history. However, there is one thing I need to address, and that is King Rauru and his wife Sonia. Queen Sonia, the first queen of Hyrule, is a Hylian. Okay, that's fine, right? But King Rauru is a goat man. Do you see where I'm going with this? You know, since Zelda is basically future lineage of these two, that it means Zelda is half goat woman. No wonder why she doesn't want to stay in her kingdom and just roam the grassy fields and use the excuse of, "I want to go on an adventure." Nope, girl just wants to graze on some grass. What a freak. Extra stuff. After the main story is finished, well, good job, because you've only touched base on like 40% or less on what this game's total content has to offer you. Now, I won't be able to name everything considering I myself haven't done it all, but in 150 hours, I feel I've done my fair share. Even while you're playing the main story, or even after the story ends, the amount to do in this game is absurd. Whether it be side quests that involve you taking on tasks for NPCs that require you to search caves or ancient ruins for treasure, that result in you trying to solve brain-racking riddles in order to get Tingle's full armor set, talk to an all-knowing chicken who is full of wisdom in an extremely funny questline, follow a man-stick goats who keep pooping out acorns because they're sick and bring them to safety, sabotage Hateno Village's election by handing out gifts to the opponent voters in order to sway them to Cece's side in exchange for being able to buy back some of your rare clothes later on, etc. But fun doesn't stop there, because you have other missions as well that have a bit more story and challenge to them. These are called side adventures. With side adventures, you're able to hunt down leads with a bird from a local newspaper to investigate sightings of Zelda, and these adventures take you all across the globe and ultimately leads you into huge fights against gigantic elemental dragons named Gleeoks. Man, these things are intimidating as all heck. I remember my first time seeing one. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna go see how strong it is. Hey yo, what's up, chump? You want a piece of me? No, no! I was just joking, stop! But once I got a good strategy down, I was able to take them down pretty easily, to be honest, utilizing my strategy of a rocket shield to shoot myself into the air, stun them by shooting them in the eye, and then meleeing the crap out of them before they entered the phase 3 of their fight. With that strategy, I was able to take them down no problem. Other side adventures allow you to get collectible items too, which I won't use, but wanted it just to have. What am I talking about? Zelda's Golden Horse. It's pretty awesome and easy to catch, as long as you've defeated the Ice Gleeok previously. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. But again, we're still not done. In addition to those quests, you have pony points you can collect at local stables by staying the night to earn rewards, locate and unlock all fairy fountains in order to increase the stats of your gear, which I've only done once sadly after terrorizing the civilians by breaking their wagon, collect all 200 Korok seeds once again, but this time it's not just about lifting up a damn rock, and instead switches it up by having a lost and tired Korok friend ask you for help in reaching their friend who's across the map, which involves you having to build a contraption to get him there in a timely fashion, or, you know, not doing it and making their life a living hell on purpose or by mistake. Shrines, of course, also make their grand return, but in a less bland and boring way possible, with each shrine in the game being unique and being puzzle-centric that involves you using every mechanic you've learned in the game to solve the issue at hand by using rockets to blast yourself, fans and pieces of wood to create a boat, use recall and reverse time to make objects easier to traverse, and the list goes on and on. With over 100 plus pertaining to both the ground of Hyrule and secret ones on Sky Island that involve you needing to escort a giant green crystal around to unlock an invisible one. None of them feel tacked on, copy and pasted, or a waste of your time. They legit all feel unique and rewarding, and when you beat certain shrines, you feel like you're the smartest damn person in the world. Or the dumbest, if the puzzle was self-explanatory and you overthought it. You know, like me. So quests, side adventures, Karak seeds, Sky Island's landscapes, shrines, that's pretty much it, right? I mean, that is a lot of content. Time to wrap this up. Wrong. Sit down and drink your gosh dang tea. We ain't done yet, chump. Previously, I had mentioned multiple times something called the Depths, and man, this is probably the biggest time sink of additions to this title. The Depths, in a nutshell, is located in a series of chasms located all around Hyrule. They're giant gloom hellholes that you must jump inside of to get to the center of the earth, literally. Just ask my friend Karak, he'll tell you all about it. Going down into these areas, you best be prepared to holy hell, because this place, between its enemy variety, darkness and gloom, can be a very, very, very bad time. For instance, upon landing your first time, it's pitch black with only small lights from lightroot trees to find your way around with. This is where you must use bright seeds or throw or shoot arrows to light your way in order to unlock all 120 lightroot seeds in order to brighten up the depths and vanquish the dark. Simple, right? Heck no! While you're actively doing this, you're being fought by enemies that hit you to inflict gloom that lock your hearts away, making them unusable. Gloom ooze all over the ground that does the same thing, pitch black pits that doesn't allow you to see further than a few feet, giant enemy boss fights that can come out of nowhere if you aren't careful, etc. Like I said, it's tough, especially when there's hard to reach light roots that make you have to build a flying machine in order to reach them because stamina isn't enough. Now for me, I've probably spent over 12 hours total just doing the depths alone and ended up 100% clearing it and lighting it up. It's no easy task, believe me, but overall I feel it's worth it due to the content that's actually in it. For example, lighting up the area allows you to discover chests that are harboring armor that used to be Amiibo exclusive, but now is available in game rewards for everyone to enjoy, such as Ocarina armor, Twilight sets, Fierce Deity sets, etc. They're all in the game, no Amiibo at all needed, which is great! Finding abandoned mines is also a treat as it lets you unlock bargaining statues by doing quests that require you to return the eyes of the statue and ultimately unlocking the ability to buy back your rare weapons that may have once been broken, get into multiple boss fights against an old foe from Breath of the Wild, who makes his grand return in a multi-part questline that's just extremely silly and fun. There's just as much fun here as there is frustration, and if you're curious, I'd say definitely give it a go. But uh-oh, you know what's coming, right? My negatives. Yep. Dislikes. Oh man. This is the part of the review I was dreading because it's going to get me some pretty bad hate due to big and small gripes I have. Nothing that deters an overall downer of an experience, but enough to at least annoy the living crap out of me. My biggest gripe in this game is the missions pertaining to the 5th mage Minoru. You start off having to go to a secluded place in the jungle, finding a specific lightning armor set that is used one time, and given vague details on what to actually do. Okay, fine, whatever. Then proceed to further the padding by following a light to find a secret passage, go into the depths, and proceed to put together the body pieces of a robot companion in 4 boring puzzles, followed by the slowest and most boring boss fight of the entire game as you fight robot versus robot while walking slower than a sloth. It's the B-movie version of Pacific Rim, but on ×3 slow motion. I absolutely hated it and hated every single thing about the 5th Sage's questline, except the story itself. But the actual missions? Pure padding and used to stretch the story on longer than it needed to go on. It brings my pee to a boil just thinking about ever doing it again. Other gripes with the title I have involve issues with Sage AI itself. While yes, their abilities are great and extremely useful in battle, yes. However, that's all negated because these little pieces of dung won't stand still. Half the time when you're in battle and needing to use their ability in order to survive or gain the advantage, they run away from you. So you spend minutes chasing them down because in order to use their ability, you have to click on them. But how the hell am I supposed to do this crap efficiently when you're running in the opposite direction getting me killed? You idiots, come here! To prevent this from happening, their power should have been mapped to the controller somewhere to make it easier to use because they're more harmful in a battle than a help. Speaking of hindrance, can you tell Yunobo and his fat butt self to get the hell out of my way during fights? Bro and other sages literally block your view and makes it difficult to see the fighting going on. This is evident in your fight against Ganondorf when he summons 4 clones plus the real him. You're fighting in a small room with 5 versions of himself, you and 5 sages. That's 11 people. They block your line of vision, making you not able to see him accurately when he rushes you, making you take damage or die. I hate you guys. Sadly, my gripes do not stop there. Well, now they're starting to get way smaller. I still have to air my piece on them. Throughout the game, the story hypes up the power of the new Master Sword that will be reborn after bathing in the power of the gods for 1,000 years. I felt this was the perfect opportunity to improve on the design of the Master Sword, or give us a brand new one. It literally hypes it up all game, as you take the sword from the head of a magical Zelda dragon in an epic and majestic cutscene, only for it to be just the same sword? Okay, I suppose. It's a badass cutscene, but come on, I wanted at least a little upgrade. It seems like a huge missed opportunity to give the legendary sword a brand new tweak. Blood Moon transitions are also something that really grinded my gears that overstayed their welcome completely. I get their use, it's to reset treasures and enemy respawning, fine, but good lord! Do they have to stop the action with what you're doing every single time to show you the same damn cutscene? Look, I know you can skip it, but it constantly gives me PTSD flashbacks to Simon's Quest and its annoying day to night transitions. It's so small, but so damn annoying. Overall, at the end of the day, Tears of the Kingdom ends up being a fantastic experience. Sure, it has its downsides, like some issues with Ultra Hand's camera angle usage being wonky at times, morbidly hard to find chests for rare gear that make you scratch your head, tedious game padding with sluggish missions that bog the game down, annoying AI that can become a hindrance to your enjoyment, etc. However, with fun missions like saving Karak friends and the Great Deku Tree from the Phantom Ganon and its gloom, doing secret Lambeth puzzles to unlock the final chasms for the depths, creating your own house by buying a play in Terrytown and making your dream home, which I created a 3-story house and super decorated it, complete with shield and weapon displays, bedroom, and even a horsey stable. Zelda freaking stole our house from Breath of the Wild. Good, you freaking chump. Live in that shack. I got my boy Link his own bachelor pad mansion. Suck on that, you goat freak. On top of that even, you have boundless exploration of the Sky Islands, caves, mountains, shrines, using creativity with your builds, top-tier temples that are the closest thing to classic dungeons as we've had in a while, captivating story, likable characters that have lively personalities. All of this makes Tears of the Kingdom a strong runner for Game of the Year. Do I consider it a masterpiece? Not really. I have a hard time throwing that label around like most people do, but overall, the journey through this world for a second and hopefully final time was an absolute blast from start to finish. So with all that having been said, my verdict is clear. Game & Chick says bye now.
Hi, my name is Game & Chick, and this is Jackass.
Hello.
Wake up, Link. Open your eyes.